Hello and welcome to Precious Memory Box's Junk Journaling. Today we're going to work on the journal I started, the junk journal I started for the By the Well for God Silent Voices kit. My month got too crazy and I did not get to work through it, but I want to finish the journal so that I can either use it with the devotional kit later or just use it for something else. So the first thing we're going to do is sew in the signature. And what I used was a paper sack. So I took a paper sack and I covered it with scrapbooking paper. Got a little bit we can see here, but we'll cover that in some way. And then on the outside, I used paper and I used material from the kit. And the kit had this beautiful mixed media material that went with it of the birds. So I just thought that was beautiful. And then I made a paper signature here of just different papers I had because I did not buy the papers that went with the kit. I chose the material instead of the paper. You can get it all, but you know, sometimes you have to be careful when you have a limited budget. So I've got that all cut and ready to sew in. So we're going to sew that in and then we'll do some decorating. Now we may not get it all done, but I may have to finish it off camera. But I thought it'd be fun to just hang out a little bit and just decorate the journal. So what I usually do, a trick that I've learned from other people, is that you measure this about 3 times. It doesn't have to be precise, but that just gives you a good amount of thread to work with. I'm using wax thread, but you can use whatever you like. And let's see, I'm going to put some of these needles away and just grab this medium-sized one here to use. You go ahead and thread that. I am not a precise measurer. I just kind of, eyeball it. I kind of like just the, what would you call it? Just the aesthetic of it, just being free-handed or, not everything planned out. But there are some things that if you want them to work right, you do have to measure, like pockets and certain folds on things. If you're trying to make a I forgot what you call them things. The all-in-ones, the one-sheet wonders. Sometimes you have to measure those so that everything will fold properly. But when I'm making a journal, I just kind of like to make the journal. If I can get the wax thread to cooperate. There we go, finally. And I don't tie this. I just try to leave enough string that it won't come, loose. Okay. So we're just going to even up our paper here. Kind of center it. And then I'm going to take my awl and about 1 inch from the top, I'm going to push that through. I tend to make my holes big because you can cover it over with lace and that, and it's just easier to thread the needle through if you're not having to fuss with, a little hole. All right, there we go. Now, do I have any clips in here with me? If you want to keep it from moving while you're trying to sew, grab some clips and put on it, but I don't think I have any in here with me. So I'm just going to try to hold it. I'm going to start in the center here. There we go. I'm going to pull that in. And I'm going to go up through the bottom. And because of the angle I did it at, it's have to look here because I kind of did a sideways angle there, so there we go. All right, pull that a little bit. So I've got out here, went through the center, came out here. Now I'm going to go, pull that out just a little bit more. I'm going to go all the way to the top here and come out. Okay, make sure your bindings are tight, but not too tight that they tear your paper. And so I went back through the top, and now I'm going to go back through the middle. Now when you come through your middle, watch that you don't split your thread that's already in there. There we go. And before you tie, put this needle away so I don't lose it on the floor. So before you tie this, make sure you like your outside, make sure it's tight enough. Should have done it a little more this way, but that's all right. I'm okay with that. I think I might cover that eventually anyway. So, and make sure it's as tight as you want inside. Don't over pull it because you'll rip your paper. And then tie your knots. Now I've got a lot of excess on this side. You can leave your strings in there if you want, or you can cut them out. For now, I'm just going to leave kind of like that. You can make a little bow if you like, but I think we're just going to leave it like that. Now, the next thing I want to do is, I couldn't find the trim I was looking for. I had this blue trim that I wanted, kind of a dusty blue, but I couldn't find it. But I need to put something on the edges here to cover up some of the lack of paper that I had, like here. So I've got this trim. Let's see what else I've got in here. I have some little scraps of trim. I have this, but I don't think that goes. It's a really pretty trim, but doesn't flow with that, so we won't use that. Let's see. I do have some larger lace here. It's pretty. I really like that. I think we'll go with that. Okay, so let me measure it. Hopefully I got enough to do both sides. Now that, I might ink that, see if I can dull down the green just a little bit. I don't really want to have to cover it with anything else. So let's see if we can ink this just a little bit to dull down the color so it won't be so bright. You could also, if you have gesso, you could paint it with gesso. The other thing we could do is double layer our lace. Like I've got a thinner lace here that I could put on, but that helped quite a bit. This one is more, this one might use this one because it's a tighter grain than this one. Let's do that. Then we won't have to come up with extras. Okay. So that got a little brown smudge on it from our distressed oxide. So I think I'll just trim that off and maybe use that on a tag. And we're going to go ahead. I'm going to trim this just below so we have a little room there to work with. Okay, so let me grab, I have this neutral pH glue. It's like a PVA glue. I got it off Amazon, and I do like it, other than the fact that it comes out really fast. So you have to be careful of that. Okay. And you could smooth that out if you want. I'm just going to smooth it out as I go along here. There we go. A lot of glue, but it will dry clear. I don't have any Fabri-Tac or anything like that, so. I like the Fabri-Tac, but the smell is really hard to deal with. All right, so we're going to let that dry for just a moment so it can get set in there, and then we'll go and we'll do the other side. And let's see. While we're waiting, let's see what we have in here. We have this beautiful, I had a pink one too, but my kitty cats got a hold of my pink feather. But we have this beautiful blue feather that I would love to use on the inside. So we're going to use that. And then we also have lots of stickers that we can use. So we have those. And we have lots of ephemera. And I have a couple stamps, so we may even use those to decorate with. What I don't really have is pockets. So I may look through what I have here, or we may just make it a journal without pockets. I do have some neutral colors here, but I think it would be fun just to make a writing journal without, all the pockets and everything. Just simply decorate with stamps and items like that. So let's check out this other side here. Layer of feather there. And I'm going to go ahead to make them be the same. See, after I sewed that in, that kind of pushed it that way, but I'm okay with that. I don't mind that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and glue another piece of ribbon here, just so the front and the back will be the same. Like I said, this comes out really fast, so you have to be careful. Might try to smooth that just a little bit. There we go. And we're going to push that out over the edge just a tad. Sorry if I went out of screen there. This will dry clear, so even though you see the big clumps of glue there, that will dry clear. There we go. All right. And like I said, later on, I need to go through my lace drawers in there, the pieces, and see if I can find one that I will put on here that I think goes well with the kit, and we will cover this up. You don't have to cover it up. It's just a personal preference. All right. So we're going to open this. And maybe I'll put a piece, see if I've got enough of that lace left. Where did I just put it? That I can do the inside of here. The journal's a little stiff because, yeah, we've got enough. Let me see if I can get that to lay down. Maybe we'll go this direction just in case. You can also use art glitter glue, Barely Arts glue, Fabri-Tac. I just like this PVA glue because it's thick. You get it done, and you just have to wait for it to dry, and you're ready to go. All right. Let's see if we need to add a little bit of glue down here. There we go. All right. There we go, and then I'll save all these little scraps and we can use them on tags. All right, so I'm thinking about maybe, let's see, do I have a stamping block in here with me? I need to get my supplies organized again because I don't have half of what I need in here with me. Let's see. I have some ink. But I don't think I have a stamping block with me. So we may have to get a little creative to stamp our flower in there, or we could maybe use some of our ephemera. Now we've got this little piece here, and maybe I'll cover that up with something. That was just part of this invoice paper that I thought was really neat, and this will make a great tuck spot for something. But we can cover that up with some stickers or strip of paper. You could use washi tape or ribbon, lace. I do have, let's see, I do have a little bit of piece of fabric here that we could use. There we go. We could use this as a way of covering this up down here. We could either make a ruffle out of it or just have it as a nice little layer, which is what I'm leaning toward, just a simple little layer. All right, that'll work. Put some glue down again. This time I might smooth it out with my fingers to keep it from being making any lumps in there. There we go. All right, smooth that down a little bit more. Had to get some of that extra glue off my fingers. So that will take a little while to dry. That's all right. Let's see what we have here though. We've got these beautiful wildflowers. We've got bouquets of flowers. Let's see. I'll set those there. We've got some wonderful butterflies. Oh, I like that, just like that. So we'll get all our butterflies together here. More flowers. So lots of flowers and butterflies. right, and I actually like that just like it is. We could add a little card here or use that as a tuck spot and tuck that in there. I think we might do that. I'm going to grab my Barely Arts glue to glue this in with. And I do need to maybe ink these edges just slightly because it's kind of a, with it being mixed media, it kind of gives it a vintage feel also. So I want to take away a little bit of the stark whiteness. And this is just going to be a beautiful spring writing journal. So we'll probably do a little bit of decorating here today. And then I probably will finish up what I want to finish on my own. And then next time maybe come back and just do a quick flip through of it so you can see how it finished. Because I do think I may add a pocket on the inside and the back cover. Just to add some extra little pieces or items there. And then I just need to find the pieces of material or lace that I want to do that with. All right. We just have to decide which way we want our butterflies to go. And I do think I'll move them down enough that we can go ahead and stamp the title of the devotional in here, even if I do or don't use it to finish the devotional in. I'll go ahead and still stamp those. Okay. Let me look here real quick, because I thought I did have a stamp block in here, but I've got too many goodies in my little basket here. That's the problem. I have to move stuff around to figure out what I've done with stuff. I am not seeing a stamping block in here. So we will just have to be creative. Okay. Let me move some of this out of the way. I am left-handed, so I have to kind of turn stuff the opposite way. And so I'm going to grab the silent voices out of here. I'm going to use this. I think it's got enough of a stability to it that I can use it here. There's some, I think I got some glue on my stamp there. All right. I'm going to rub this. These are new stamps, so I'm going to rub them on my arm a little bit to get some oils on them, to get them more conditioned to stamp and accept the ink. Okay, and this stamp is meant to look a little, what's the word? Mixed media. It's meant to, you know, have look a little distressed. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, there we go. All right. Let's grab our other one here. second part of the word is silent voices. Okay. And I'm going to move this slightly down just a little bit. It'll be off center, but that's okay. All right, and there we go. Okay. Now that this has had opportunity to dry a little bit, I'm going to trim this up here. There we go. Save that little piece for a tab on something. And there's our first page. Now here I wanted to use this as a tuck spot. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down just the ends here. I figured this would make a great page to write on with the lines. And let's see, what else could we decorate with here? Something maybe tall and whimsical, kind of like that. Or we've also have the flowers in the bouquets or the wildflowers. There we go, I like that. Just going to ink the sides up a little bit. Not exactly sure how I want to use the feather yet. I kind of thought of maybe like a bookmark, so it can just be loose in here. There we go. Because I think it's too big to tuck in, and I think it would get probably messed up if I did that. Yeah. So we'll save that, use it like as a bookmark. All right. I'm going to leave this page blank for now because I think I want to add this large stamp, but I need to find my larger stamping block. Put that right in the center and come back and maybe watercolor that. Let's see, we've got a lot of stickers we could use to help us decorate with also. And since our main goal is just to is to leave it as a writing journal to write in, I'm not going to try to over decorate it. But let me get out, we've got a stamp there. Let me get out these. So these are just letters we could use. These are numbers. And those numbers usually correspond with the number of lessons, which there's 14 in the lessons for the devotional. These are some really pretty little cards. I think they could make great pockets or tip-ins. So let's see if there's one we like to go on here. And I wasn't going to do pockets, but now that I've seen these, I kind of like them. Oh, I like that one. I think it needs to go this way. There we go. That's beautiful. Let's do that. Or we can make it as a side tuck. So let's wait. Which way do we want it to go? Let's do it over here. And I'm going to put some glue here and some glue here. And that way we'll be able to tuck in papers or another card, however we want to do it. And there we go. Those are beautiful. So after that dries, that will be a side tuck for other cards or any type of paper you want to put in there. We also have the stickers in here. Let me grab them out. And I forgot we had some faux washi in here. We could have used at the bottom of that one page. So, and we also have these journaling cards that we can use as pockets or journaling cards. You know, just take one of the journaling cards and insert it here. So we can definitely do that. Let's see, are there any stickers here we want to use? We also have some letters and numbers. Set those up there for now. And we can use the backgrounds on these for decorating with. And then we've got some faux washi here too. Just trying to decide, do we want to put a little bird up here in the corner? I think that would be cute. And what I love about these stickers is they just melt right into the page. There's our beautiful little bird there. All right, and let's open this packet. We also have some black and white butterflies that we can use. And we'll just do one more page for now, and then I'll come back hopefully within a week. I struggle to be consistent with my videos because I work full-time, and it's hard sometimes. So we've got some, these are the lesson titles, and so I'll put them down as I work through the devotional, maybe later on. Just not quite sure if I'm going to use this for the devotional or use it just for a personal writing journal. So, because it's so pretty. I love the mixed media part of this. So I'm going to go ahead and put the bird stamp down here. Love those little stamps. And then I was thinking about, or stickers, I'm sorry. Where's my little stamps? I was thinking about maybe adding worship up here at the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it around on here and use this as my stamp. Let's put it, I'm going to put it through the middle of the other stamp there so it'll have some stability. And then I'll just ink this up. There we go. And we're going to stamp this at the top. There we go. Oh, I like that. That's one thing I lack. I don't have a lot of word stamps. That's something I need to acquire more of. All right. This one we're going to leave for the stamp. I've got worship there. Let's do one more, and then I'm going to show you my simple way for closure here. I'm not going to do anything fancy, but I'll just show you how I've decided to close this. And I'm working on learning how to make dangles, so I may make a dangle for this as well. But let's see. What do we want to add here? Loving these black and white butterflies. And my thought was to maybe kind of crisscross them down the page to look like a border, but leave a little bit of room between them so I don't use them all up in one. There we go. And let's see, let's do one more here. There we go. We'll just cut that little bit off. And I think that's all for right this moment. I'm going to keep adding to this, but I just wanted to come on and maybe show you a couple little quick ways I wanted to decorate this. And then what I will do is I will continue working on this and decorating it, and hopefully by next Sunday I can complete it, and I'll come back and do a flip through for you. And then I'll also show you how I'm working through this month's kit of By the Well for God. I'm just doing the scripture writing and reading the lessons, and I'm using the new Disciples Journal. So I'm just doing it a little bit easier this month, a way for me to work through it. And let's lay our feather in here, and hopefully it'll stay nice in here. But I'll show you that in the next video. And then maybe one day this week we'll start our journal that we're going to make from Pink Monarch Prints, their newest kit that is out for the month of April. I believe it's called Woodland, I can't remember the second part, Woodland Creatures, I think. But we'll start working on that journal. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this, and then I wanted to show you, so there's a couple different ways you can do a closure on this. It is a, handled bag, paper sack bag, and so what I've done before in the past is I just pull the opposite handles through, and I tie on, what I do is my little bit of material I brought in here for that. Here we go, this is the same material. So I have this pretty little chiffon that goes well. And we'll just, before I cut it, we'll see how much we need. And so what you can do with this is I'm going to run it through the back and then bring it around. And you can tie it over here if you want. And do that. But my thought was, I'm going to do it a little bit different this time, is I'm just going to fold this across doubled. And I'm just going to use my chiffon, and I'll bring it around. There we go. And let me cut off this excess amount right here. And I'm just simply going to tie it around and make a simple knot, because I'm going to be working in this journal. I don't want it to have a closure that's going to be, hard to open and close. So there is my simple closure. And you can pull it down a little bit if you want to be able to see your little bird there, which I do. So I'll pull that down a little bit. You could make your own belly band type closure with, elastic and a button. There's all kinds of ways you can make closures. But I like the simple ones because if you're going to work in your journals, you want to be able to get in and out of them easy and not, be hard to work in them. So I know this was a really simple little just kind of craft and listen chit-chat type video, but I hope you guys will come back again. I'm hoping to be able to be more consistent and be able to spend more time crafting and learning along with you and doing tutorials of the things I do know how to do, but trying out other things that I don't know how to do. That's the only way you learn. And so I'm untying this right now because I see that my string has come loose. So I'm going to go check on that and see what happened there. And that's what happens. Sometimes you have to troubleshoot and figure out what's going on. Let's see what happened here. Seems like it's okay, just maybe I didn't pull it quite tight enough. So I may have to undo my knots there and pull that tighter, and I'll work on that and see if I can get that fixed. So I hope you guys will join me later in the week, and I hope you go check out By the Well for God. They have a lot of wonderful monthly devotional kits if you like to do devotionals and you like to create. They have lots of creative things to go along with the devotional. So thank you for joining me and have a wonderful day. Bye.